I remember the dust, the heat, the smell of my father's sheep. That was my world. A shepherd's staff in my hand, a sling at my side, and the wide-open sky as my only witness. No one saw a king in the boy who sang to his flock. No one except the one who sees all. My name is David, son of Jesse, and this is my story. It all started with a sound I'll never forget. A booming voice, heavy with scorn, echoing across the valley of Elah. For 40 days, it had been the first thing we heard at dawn, and the last thing that haunted us at night. Goliath of Gath, a giant, not just in stature, but in the fear he commanded. He stood there, clad in bronze, mocking our armies, mocking our God, and our best soldiers, men of valor, could only stand and tremble. I wasn't a soldier. I was just a boy, sent by my father to bring bread and cheese to my brothers on the front lines. But when I heard his taunts, something inside me ignited. It wasn't courage, not as you might think of it. It was a fierce, protective fire. This giant wasn't just insulting our army. He was defying the very God who had delivered our people time and time again. How could everyone just stand there? My brothers were angry. They told me to go back to my sheep. "You're just a proud kid looking for a show," they said. Maybe they were right about the pride, but it wasn't my own glory I was after. I couldn't shake the feeling that this was my moment, that God had brought me here for this very reason. I went to King Saul. He looked at me, a boy with no armor, no sword, no experience in battle, and saw only a foolish child. "You can't fight this man," he said. "You're just a youth, and he's been a warrior since he was a boy." But I had my own battlefield experience. "Your Majesty," I said, "when a lion or a bear came and stole a lamb from my flock, I went after it. I struck it and rescued the lamb. If it turned on me, I grabbed it by its jaw and struck it down. The Lord, who rescued me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear, will rescue me from the hand of this Philistine." Something in my words must have moved him. He gave me his own armor. It was heavy, ornate, and completely wrong for me. I felt clumsy, weighed down. This wasn't my fight to have. It was God's. I took it off. I would face the giant not as a soldier of Saul, but as a shepherd of the Lord. I walked to the stream that cut through the valley floor. The water flowed, cool and clear, indifferent to the conflict raging above. I chose 5 smooth stones, not because I thought I'd miss, but because a good shepherd is always prepared. With my staff in one hand and my sling in the other, I walked out to meet my destiny. Goliath laughed. It was a deep, rumbling sound that shook the ground. "Am I a dog," he roared, "that you come at me with sticks?" He cursed me by his gods. He promised to feed my flesh to the birds and the beasts. I stood my ground. My heart was pounding, but my voice was clear. "You come against me with sword and spear and javelin," I shouted, so all could hear, "but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hands, and the whole world will know that there is a God in Israel." I didn't wait. I ran towards him. He was a mountain of a man, an impossible foe. But in that moment, I didn't see the giant. I saw the target. I placed a stone in my sling, took aim, and let it fly. It was a motion I had practiced 1,000 times with my flock. The stone soared through the air, true and fast. It struck the giant squarely on his forehead, and he fell, face down, onto the earth. The silence that followed was deafening. Then, a roar erupted from the Israelite camp. Fear had been broken. Hope was restored. That day, I learned a lesson that would carry me through the rest of my life. It is not the size of the giant you face, but the size of the God you serve. That victory changed everything. I was no longer just a shepherd boy. I was a hero. I was brought into the king's court, a world of politics and power I never imagined. I became best friends with the king's son, Jonathan. Our souls were knit together. We were like brothers. But with fame came a new, more dangerous enemy: jealousy. King Saul, the man who once offered me his armor, now looked at me with suspicion. The people sang songs. Saul has slain his thousands, and David his tens of thousands. With every cheer for me, the darkness in his heart grew. He saw me not as a loyal servant, but as a threat to his throne. The first time he threw his spear at me, I thought it was an accident. The second time, I knew it wasn't. The palace that had been my new home became a prison. I had to flee for my life. I became a fugitive, hunted by the very king I had served. I lived in caves, in forests, in the wilderness. My only companions were a band of outcasts, men who were in debt, in distress, and discontented. They looked to me for leadership. It was a difficult time. I was lonely, afraid, and often questioned why God had allowed this to happen. I had been anointed by the prophet Samuel to be the next king, yet here I was, running like a criminal. But even in the darkness, God was with me. He taught me to rely on Him completely. He shaped me not in the comfort of a palace, but in the crucible of the wilderness. I learned humility, patience, and compassion for the broken. These were the lessons I needed to become a king after God's own heart. Twice, I had the chance to end it all. Twice, I found King Saul vulnerable, asleep, defenseless. My men urged me to strike. "This is your chance," they said. "God has delivered your enemy into your hands." But I couldn't. I cut off a corner of his robe once, and another time I took his spear and water jug. I couldn't bring myself to harm the Lord's anointed. Vengeance was not mine. I had to trust that God's plan and His timing were perfect. Eventually, Saul's tragic reign came to its end on the battlefield. The news brought me no joy, only sorrow. I mourned for him and for my dear friend Jonathan. The path to the throne was finally clear, but it was a path paved with grief. At Hebron, the elders of Judah anointed me king, and later, all the tribes of Israel came and declared their allegiance. The shepherd boy from Bethlehem was now the king of Israel. My first act was to capture the city of Jerusalem and make it my capital, the city of David, a central place of worship and governance for all our people. I brought the Ark of the Covenant, the symbol of God's presence, into the city with great celebration. It felt like my life's purpose was being fulfilled. But kings are still men, and I was far from perfect. My greatest triumphs were often followed by my deepest failures. There was a time when I let my guard down, when I acted on selfish desire. I made a terrible mistake, one that brought shame and tragedy upon my own family and the nation. I had to face the consequences of my sin, and the pain was immense. In my brokenness, I cried out to God. I wrote psalms, songs of confession, repentance, and a desperate plea for mercy. I learned that God's forgiveness is real, but so are the scars of our choices. Yet, through it all, His grace was sufficient. He never left me, He disciplined me, but He did not forsake me. Looking back, from the fields to the throne, from victory to failure, my life has been a testament to God's faithfulness. He took a humble shepherd, a boy nobody noticed, and used him for His glory. He taught me that true strength isn't found in armor or armies, but in a heart that trusts Him completely. He showed me that even when we fall, His mercy can lift us up again. My story is not about a perfect man, but about a perfect God who uses imperfect people. It's a reminder that no matter how small you feel or how big the giants in your life seem, with faith, anything is possible. Thank you for listening.